If you haven't heard about Anchor, it's the easiest way to make a podcast. Let me tell you about it. It's free, which is amazing. And there are these really cool creation tools that allow you to record and edit your podcast right from your phone or your computer. Anchor will even distribute your podcast for you, so it's easy to be heard on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, anywhere you get podcasts. And you get to make money with no minimum listenership, which is really cool. It's everything you need to make a podcast all in one place. Download the free Anchor app or go to anchor.fm to get started right away. Yoga teachers, mindfulness leaders, and energy workers, are you ready to stop side hustling and start making an income doing what you love? Welcome to the Marketing Off the Mat podcast. Every Tuesday and Thursday, we'll dive into conversations with successful creatives in wellness, business, marketing, and more to uncover practical methods to take you from A to B and have some fun along the way. My name is Jessica Cross, and I'm so excited to be here with you. Let's dive in. Hey, welcome back. This is Marketing Off the Mat, and it's Jessica, and I'm thrilled to be here with you today. I hope January is finding you well. I hope that you're feeling inspired and uplifted, and if not, keep listening. We got some stuff coming up that's going to help bringing those shifts. Hey, shifts happen, right? So keep listening, keep showing up for yourself, keep doing the tough work, even if that means sending a single post out once a week or putting yourself out there in that offering or that workshop, because it matters, it adds up, and I'm just cheering you on over here. So in that vein, I have an incredible guest today, and her name is Erin Wimert. She has been a full-time yoga and fitness teacher in Denver for the past 13 years. She's been teaching in person and also live streams multiple times a week as she films for her YouTube channel, on her Twitch channel, and the thing we're going to be talking about the most today is her international retreats and her brand new business, Panacea Retreats. So she is an incredible resource if you're thinking, man, I would really, really love to host a retreat. I'm so curious about how that goes, like what is all involved, and especially what is it like hosting an international retreat during a pandemic? Erin's done it all. So she's going to give us a little peek behind the curtain, tell us a little bit more about how it's going down, and then also how she can help us, plan our retreats and navigate this new world that we live in. So I hope you're excited. Take a listen. Hey, Erin, how are you?
Hey, Jessica, I'm doing great. I'm so excited to be doing this with you.
Oh my gosh. Well, first, just thank you for your time and your energy in doing this. I know you have so much on your plate all the time, so taking the time
I think we all
chat.
do right now.
Yeah. That's true. Yeah, so I can relate and appreciate it that much more, so thanks.
Of course.
Yeah, so we talked a little bit about you in the intro, but I would love it if you could tell us a little bit about yourself and your career journey and how it kind of brought you to today.
Yeah, well, I live in Denver and I grew up in Boulder. I have been teaching full-time yoga and fitness and also meditation for about 13 years. So, I went to college and, got a degree and worked in an office for a few years and just decided that wasn't for me. So I did yoga teacher training and, became a full-time teacher immediately, which is crazy. And yeah, I've just been doing it ever since.
That is really crazy and amazing that you hopped straight into full-time teaching, because I don't actually hear that very often. It's usually the side hustle game. Yeah.
I feel like nowadays I would never suggest someone like jump into that because it's just not sustainable. And there's so many yoga teachers now and so many studios, and it's really hard. It's still, even after like over a decade, it's still really hard, which is why I decided to go into, building my own business and having something other than just teaching all the time.
Oh, I can so relate to that. And yes, for those that are listening, if you're teaching full time, like hats off to you, because it's really hard as far as time management. It's hard on your body. It's just hard in a lot of ways. So, and that's why we have these conversations, it's, about building sustainability and building other revenue streams within your business. So you're not having to, take on 25 classes a week or something crazy. So,
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
so tell, we kind of alluded to it already, but tell us a little bit about, kind of how the pandemic changed some of the things about your business, about your teaching, and how it kind of all unfolded as you went online last year.
Yeah. So I remember that we were going to go into a 2 week lockdown, and I was kind of like, yes, like staycation. I love being at home anyway. So it was just sort of exciting for me. And I think probably like a week into quarantine, my husband started talking about us live streaming because he's been DJing my classes for since we met, so about 6 years. And we somehow got a hold of the equipment that we need to live stream. We happen to have a really nice camera for filming for YouTube videos that we never used. And we happen to have all this stuff that was very in high demand at the time because no one was producing the equipment or cameras or microphones or lights at the time because everything was shut down. And we decided to start live streaming bar and yoga on the weekends on Twitch, which is a gaming platform. And we decided to use Twitch because it's an open source platform, so anyone can log in and watch class and take class. A lot of our favorite DJs had been using Twitch to live stream their shows. So we decided to do that. It's, really high quality audio and video. And we we did it for let's see, 76 straight weeks. We just had taken a break in October.
Wow.
But we had done it from March 2020 through October 21, and we never missed a weekend, even when we went to Costa Rica. One time we took all our live stream equipment with us. That was our thing, is that we never missed a weekend. And through 2020, we just, all of our classes were donation based, and that's how we got by. And we were actually doing better, um, making money from donations, and either other of us had been doing when we were, I was teaching and he was doing his job. So we really flourished and thrived uh, during this time. And because we had been so consistent, we had students from all over the country and some from Canada and Australia, interestingly enough. And we announced that we were doing yoga retreats in November 2021, and we sold out to back-to-back weeks, and had all these people that we had been live streaming with for over a year come, and we got to meet everyone for the first time. And it was the first time my husband had DJ'd my yoga retreats, which we had been wanting to do for a while. So it's come together in a way that I could have never dreamed. It's been amazing.
Oh my gosh. Your story just kind of gives me chills because it's one of the another illustrating factor of just, kind of when we're forced into a situation to be creative and lean into the tools that we have, and the iterative process is like, okay, well, let's try Twitch. Oh, well, we do actually have a camera. Let's fire it up. let's
Hmm.
try some stuff and see how it goes. And then, once it starts resonating, you guys were consistent. You just kept showing up, and you were showing up for people in a time when they desperately needed something consistent, that was healthy to lean into. So hats off to you guys. That's incredible. It really,
Yeah,
really
thanks.
is.
I mean, even just telling the story again, it kind of gives me chills that everything worked out like it did. It just seemed like it was meant to be.
Yeah, that's incredible. And so you mentioned your retreats and Costa Rica, and I know that you've had some of those retreats already. You're about to have another, and now you're helping other teachers host their own retreat. So how is that going?
Yeah, well, I remember I started hosting retreats in 2014. I hosted my first retreat, and it was like I got to travel for free, which was crazy. It's all, I had not really traveled at that point in my life, and I got paid to go. And it was just like, how have I not done this before? This is insane. I get to see the world and I get paid to do it and I get to teach and see beautiful places and eat amazing food. And so that's just sort of where it took off. And then of course COVID happened and everything got canceled. Um, but I had realized through COVID that I didn't want to go back to teaching, 15, 20 classes a week. Like I had known that for a while, but once I was only just down to like live streaming and filming for my YouTube videos, like I don't want to teach very much at all. Like I love it, but I was so burnt out. I
Mm.
thought maybe I will go back to teaching a couple classes a week. Like I can do that. That's sustainable. And I can stay excited and keep live streaming and doing my YouTube channel. And then a few months ago, I was listening to a podcast, and I heard this woman as a guest. Her name was Leah Gervais, and she was just talking. She was speaking my language. She was, had this course about, helping women become entrepreneurs and work remotely and um, just get out of whatever rut they were in. It was all about helping women quit their 9 to 5. And so I looked into the course and it was, like $5,000. I was like, well, I'm obviously not doing that. But then I kept listening to her podcast and it was like the last day to sign up. And I just, took out a credit card and bought the course because I knew that I had to invest in myself if I wanted to move forward and it was going to be uncomfortable. Um, so I signed up for this course and it was 16 weeks. I was with 7 or 8 other women and we just got full support in creating a business. And I figured out what I wanted to do, which was help teachers lead retreats because it's just been so beneficial in my life. And that's how I started Panacea Retreats. And yeah, I've had more interest um, more quickly than I would have thought, especially now, like with this new variant coming out, and there's all this concern about COVID coming back. I mean, it never
Mm.
went anywhere, but they're ready to travel, and people are getting their vaccinations and boosted, and they're ready to try to get back to normal as much as possible.
Hmm. Yeah. Yeah. And I just, that your whole story of how you kind of listened to that inkling of, you know what, this is expensive, but I should invest in myself, to take the time to figure out exactly what it is that you wanted to do. And it kind of uncovered all of this magic that you already had. You were already leading your retreats, you were teaching, and you had you have this incredible knowledge that you can help other people, other teachers have that success and that experience that you've had. And basically you get to roll out even more yoga without having to be the one who's teaching it all the time. You get to influence
Mhm.
those students. Yeah, that's incredible.
Right. Yeah, I've had a couple people help me with planning myself in the beginning and took almost everything. And I was, a little upset about that because I felt like I had done so much of the work. But my goal was to take um, take all the pressure of planning and executing a retreat, off people's hands, but also making sure that they make a good chunk of money because yoga teachers are notoriously underpaid. I mean, I still feel like after 13 years, I'm still fighting to get wages similar to what I
Mm,
was getting when I first started, which is crazy.
mm,
But yeah, my goal is to help teachers have get a retreat going and also make a ton of money doing it. So, I definitely don't want to be here taking everyone's income away from them, especially when they're really doing so much of the work. They're getting people there. They're traveling to another country and teaching usually twice a day. So my
Mhm.
goal is to really make sure that teachers are making money too.
And I just love that as you as a teacher, you have that experience. You know this, for lack of a better term, starving artist lifestyle that many of us teachers live. And, it just doesn't have to be that way. You can have other things like retreats, streaming, other parts of your business, that call to you that can help kind of carry that load and make sure that you feel fulfilled and, that your bills are paid. Because how else can we show up and really teach if we don't feel, basically safe? Our root chakra is a mess. Like we don't have our bills paid,
Right.
right? And
Absolutely.
yeah, you're helping teachers, and you've had that experience too, where you've worked with somebody where you felt that the split wasn't, a good fit, and so you just have all of that knowledge, and you're going to help so many people. It's incredible.
I'm so excited. I just I know what it's like to, like you said, not know how the bills are going to get paid, just be so financially stressed out all the time, yet working all the time.
Mhm.
And I want to help people see that there's another way, and you can travel.
Yeah, amazing. Well, and
Who doesn't want that?
yeah, and it's like, well, I don't know, not me. I definitely want to do that. Sounds incredible. So tell me, we're talking a little bit about, the new variants that people are interested, even so, because we have now, a year later, we have access to vaccines, we have access to boosters and other, medications that are even coming out that are kind of cutting edge. And so you're seeing people being more interested in traveling. Even, recently my husband was traveling and he was saying, the airport was noticeably more busy than it has
Hmm.
been. And so, how has the pandemic shaped your retreat planning, and what's a little bit of a peek behind the curtain in your process when you're preparing for a retreat in these COVIDian times, or whatever it is that we're living in?
Yeah. Honestly, like I said, I'm about to leave the country in a couple days again for the fourth time since this all started. And I feel like the difference is you got to wear your mask and then you got to test to come back, which for me is not that big of a deal. It's like if that's all I have to do to travel, then I'll do it. And I I also, the new thing that I make sure everyone does when they sign up is to get travel insurance like
Mm,
ASAP. If you get travel insurance within like 14 or 15 days, you can get cancel anytime insurance, which will cover your trip if, the world shuts down or whatever. But um, that has been the biggest piece of advice I've given people when leaving retreats this time. And I've also noticed that a lot of teachers are no longer offering refunds um, once
mm,
people sign up for the retreats, just because you just never know what's going to happen. I had a lot of friends lose a lot of money in 2020 because things shut down and places were not able to refund them.
mm.
So, yeah, just a couple things to uh, make sure people feel like they're taken care of in case anything happens. But COVID is here to stay, and
Mhm.
we're just working with it.
Yeah, I mean, we really have no other choice at this point
Yep.
than to work with it. Yeah, and I love that idea. It's like, if you're cool wearing a mask and getting tested, which we pretty much all are doing both of those things all the time anyway, then you can travel, and all the better just to get insurance like that. That would make me feel more comfortable as a leader or as a student attending too, just knowing it's like, okay, I think this is going to happen, but just in case, I'm covered.
Yeah, I even suggest that um, the teachers that I work with, once they decide to work with me and put down a deposit, I suggest that they get travel insurance in case their trip doesn't work out. They can, get refunded their money
Mm.
that they've put into it.
Mm. Yeah, that's a really, really great tip. anytime you can safeguard a big investment into your business like this one, then yeah, I totally agree.
Hmm.
That's great advice.
Yeah.
So if you're listening and you're thinking, I would love to host a retreat, but I have no idea how to get started, it seems too big and too scary, what would it be a few tips that you have for us, Erin, in kind of getting started in retreat planning?
I would first figure out if you want to do an international retreat or a local retreat. Um, my husband and I were just on a walk and we were talking about how local retreats, while they're more accessible, um, there's really not a lot of money to be made in a local retreat, which not everyone is looking to make money from their retreats. I
Mhm.
am, and I know a lot of people are. But if you do a local retreat, you got to think it's already like $200 or $300 a night. So a 3-day weekend is like $900 right now, right there. So if you were to add on extra uh, for your fee to make money off of, you're paying almost as much as you would for an international retreat.
Mm.
So I would figure out what what you want to do. Obviously, a local retreat is people feel more comfortable being closer to home, and it might just feel safer in general if they don't feel like they have a lot of support. But I'd say figure out local or international. Also, what kind of theme do you want for your retreat? Like, what's the vibe? What's the intention for the week? What are you going to be talking about for the week? Because that's going to really guide the week energetically and shape and mold everyone's experience. Um, and another thing I would keep in mind, which a lot of people don't think about, is considering gift bags
Mm.
for your participants when you get there. It's a really nice touch to give people a bag of goodies when they get there. So it might be something like, so for our last retreat in Costa Rica, we got some doTERRA oils that we made with someone.
Mhm.
And we had those in there. We got when we went to Costa Rica, we got some Palo Santo that was local. We got some local hot sauce. Um, and what else? Something else. Oh, we had malas made by my husband's dad, who's a jeweler. So, and everyone was like, "This is so nice to just like walk in and you get gifts." So that's something that can be a really nice touch as well.
Oh, those are really, really great tips. And I can just picture that gift bag and walking into my room and it sitting there on the pillow and it just ready for you. It's those little touches, yeah, that keep people coming
Yeah,
back. It's so
I
true.
yeah, attention to detail is everything. I feel like that's the biggest um, piece of feedback I get is that people felt like all the details were taken care of, which is really important if you're asking someone to travel, especially internationally. Um, if they can just show up and not have to worry about anything. So that's a big part of why I do what I do. So teachers can show up and not have to worry about taking care of everything and being stressed out when, everyone's really just trying to unwind.
And they can feel that too from the teacher for sure. If
Oh,
they're
yeah.
just, yeah, if they're, flying all over the place trying to make sure every I is dotted and T crossed, it's definitely felt where they're just like, we just want you to hold the space for us. And
Yeah, I
it's
had to
so
learn
great they're
from
doing that.
experience.
Yeah, me too. I've been there and it's not easy. So if you're listening, definitely reach out to Erin too, because just having somebody in your corner to help you plan a retreat is A, sort of unheard of, and B, what a gift. So we'll be sure to include your contact info in the show notes for all that stuff. But just a plug. And then, okay, so I love to ask this question, and it's kind of a big one. So, if you could go back in time to any phase in your teaching career, or as you're kind of going through this, new phase of entrepreneurship, if you could go back and tell yourself something that would save you a sleepless night or a headache, what would it be?
I already know the answer to this question. It's when I first started my business training. I really had no idea what anyone was talking about, like with opt-ins and landing pages and mailing lists. I just had no clue what they were talking about. But they said, uh, Erin, just relax and trust that this is all going to make sense. Go with the flow and do the modules week by week. Take your time, and we promise that this is all going to come together, and you're going to understand what we're talking about. And I just said, okay, I let go. I trust you completely, and I'm just going to do the step by step with you. And they were absolutely right. So, if you have an opportunity to do any sort of coaching or training with someone who you think is, legit, do it. And, you know, finding people who are in their zone of genius, is is such a powerful thing. I mean, being with people who are experts in the field of making money and starting businesses and marketing, like it really is a game changer. So if you're feeling called or pulled to work with a coach or do some sort of training, do it.
It's so true. And I have a very similar experience. It's when I invested in something that looked like had multiple zeros and got a little scary and it's like, I can't afford this. What am I doing? It was when I trusted that gut feeling and just, as you said, let go and said, okay, I'm going to try this. That's when the magic happened for sure.
And I think there's a lot of people calling themselves coaches and having mastermind trainings and all that who maybe don't have the background to say that they're an expert in the field. So I think you definitely have to be picky and pay attention to who it is that you're listening to and getting advice from, and look into them, and are they legit, because there's so many people out there trying to do the same thing but can maybe don't have the wherewithal to really pull it off.
It's so true. And yeah, I think, we'd be rich if we could put a quarter in a hat for every person who's calling themselves a coach these days.
Yeah,
Especially
I know
if
it.
you scroll through Instagram at any point during your day.
Uh-huh.
But yeah, like I love that. Be choosy. Have the time to really research what you're investing in. If that person offers, a 30-minute, free strategy call or whatever it is to get to know them, like bring your questions, ask, like I'm
Yeah.
sure they're more than willing to answer. And if they're not, there's your answer. That's
Hmm.
not somebody you would want to work with anyway. So
Yeah, absolutely.
yeah. So aside from all of your amazing retreats and your Twitch channel and all those wonderful things that you're doing, what kind of cool things do you have coming up that we can check out?
I mean, this is my life right now, honestly. We have another live DJ retreat in Costa Rica, November 5th through 7th. So, if you'd like to join us, it's a really amazing experience. Just with the live music is really nice to have in class. And of course, if you want to see or check out our vibe and what we have to offer, you can check out our classes on the weekend on Twitch, which will be resuming again in January. And yeah, like I said before we started this call, I'm going to Costa Rica in a couple days, but this time it's not for a retreat, it's just for fun. So this is the first time we've ever gone to Costa Rica um, and not worked. So we're really excited about that.
Nice. So the retreat planner actually gets to go on retreat every now and then.
Yeah, yeah. But
That's
no,
so
I
great.
love retreats. I'd love to do like 4 year ideally.
Mhm.
That's my dream. When Bali opens up again, I'm dying to get over there, get into Indonesia. But yeah, if you want to travel and you want to make good money, and you have a strong student base, like let me know. We can pull this off. And even after everything's said and done, like taxes and fees and travel costs and gift bags and all that, like you could make 5 figures in a week. You
Mm.
can make over 10 grand in a week after everything's said and done. and more than that. So I encourage teachers to charge more,
Mm,
especially if their goal is to make money. And there's definitely a threshold for, like, you don't want to have a $5,000 week. For a lot of people, they can't afford that. But um, I started off adding $1,000 to my base prices and realized quickly that that was not enough. So I definitely
mm.
encourage people to find the limit, for what they're willing to charge, and make some money, because teaching yoga is hard work. It really is, and we should get paid for it.
Hallelujah, amen. Like I'm so with you on that. I love the heart from where that comes, where people want to make things incredibly accessible for everybody, but at the same time, you're setting yourself on fire in order to help those people. So let's all help each other. Charge what
Yes.
we're worth.
Yes.
It's not easy work, and as teachers, you've I don't even want to know how much I've invested in my teacher trainings over the years. Let's not
Hmm.
count it up. So we spend a lot of money in getting trained and a lot of time with our students. So let's charge what we're worth. I totally agree with
Yeah,
that.
because when you're teaching at a studio, you're at the mercy of the studio, and they decide what you make and what your ceiling is and
Hmm.
how far you can go, which can get really old.
Yeah. Yes.
To have
Yeah.
someone else choosing, your financial situation. So at least when you're doing a retreat, like, the money's in your hands, and you can make a ton of money. So I just want everyone, especially yoga teachers, to know that feeling of financial freedom, because it's hard out there.
It is. And I'm so glad that we have folks like you who are, bringing this service and this incredible knowledge out into the world so you can help more teachers find that freedom, because that's really what we're all after.
Yeah, absolutely.
So good. So how can we find you?
Well, my on Instagram is probably the best way. Panacea Retreats. My website is panacearetreats.co. And my more personal page is just Erin Wimert on Instagram. Um, so it was my yoga page, and now it's just getting more like it's a place to show my personality. So a
Gotcha.
couple different
Perfect.
places.
That's good. I love it. We'll definitely put links to your Instagram and your website in the show notes as well. And I just want to thank you so much for your time and just being so gracious with all of your knowledge and wisdom and everything that you've learned in this crazy past 2 years, which doesn't seem possible, but it's gone by fast, and you've grown so much. And I'm so glad that I got to meet you and that we're connected.
I know. I can't believe we met on Instagram.
All right. Really, it does. Good things do happen on Instagram.
Absolutely. Well, thanks for asking me. It's been really fun to chat with you.
Awesome. Thanks again. Wasn't that chat incredible? I really, really love Erin. She's just so open and honest, and she shares her incredible wealth of knowledge, not only for teaching for 13 years, but pivoting her business from studio teaching to moving online, streaming on Twitch, which, if you're not familiar with Twitch, is a gaming platform. And from a yoga teacher standpoint, it's like, what is Twitch? Like, she and her husband figured things out. And not only did they take that pivot online, but they used that to fill international retreats during a pandemic, which I just am so impressed by and I'm inspired by their story. So I hope that you were too. Definitely go give Erin a follow. It's at Panacea Retreats on Instagram. I'll spell that for you. It's at PANACEARETREATS on Instagram, and send her a DM if you're interested in her services. She has a wealth of knowledge in planning retreats, especially during the time of a pandemic. So if that's your jam, go get in her DMs and figure out how you can make it happen. I'm sending you so much love. Have a beautiful rest of your day. Thanks for listening to the Marketing Off the Mat podcast. I love hanging with you as we figure this thing out together. Do you have an idea or something to share with me? Send me a DM on Instagram at jessicacross.co and let me know what's on your mind. I'd be so grateful if you shared this with someone who could use this episode. And if you get a chance, please rate, review, and subscribe on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever you get your podcasts. Catch you on the next episode. See ya.